Hey Amelia, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. And so we're going to talk mostly about this first question since that was the one that you had starred, but I'll kind of reference some other things throughout your project as well as we're going. So the first thing that I looked for in your paragraphs was a strong topic sentence, which we want to answer the question that was provided and kind of preview what's coming in the paragraph. So I think especially in this paragraph, Amelia, like the question is basically what is the difference in R and L directed thinking? And so this topic sentence that just says they're different, but they work together, I don't know that that totally answers what that question is asking. Okay, so I would encourage you to really make sure you directly answer the question right off the bat. Shouldn't be too long or detailed yet, but make sure you get an answer there. The next thing I looked for was that you had actually at the end a strong concluding sentence, which again we want to go back to the question and kind of wrap up the paragraph. I thought actually here, Amelia, you had a really nice concluding sentence. And it clearly did answer this question. So you say like L directed is analyzing, R directed is synthesizing, which is exactly right. The next thing I looked at was evidence, and I think you did a nice job selecting evidence. Like I liked how up here you kind of talked about one difference in each hemisphere, and then down here you talked about a different difference. So I thought that, allowed you to develop the paragraph nicely. I also thought you did a nice job of what we call embedding or integrating your evidence here and here. So, like this one says, in the simplest of terms, the left hemisphere specializes in text, blah, blah, blah. Even with the quotes, that flows and reads together really nicely. So, good job there. The only reason I didn't give you a 10 is I think in some of your other paragraphs I noticed sometimes there was kind of some random like capitalizing in some of the quotes or to start the quotes like this. So it wasn't perfect, but you're definitely doing a good job there. All right, next on commentary. I really liked this second piece of commentary because you actually gave an example. So you said like when having a conversation, this is what the left side is doing, this is what the right side is doing. I thought that really allowed you to develop this quote rather than just like summarizing what it already said. Up here, I thought that there wasn't necessarily as much of that. Like you kind of just summarized a little bit of what the quote had already said. So this one, I would encourage you to do more like that. All right, couple more things on conventions and citations. So your citations look good in terms of how you've set those up. There is a convention issue in those though, in that obviously Pink's last name needs to be capitalized. Okay. We also want to make sure to avoid personal pronouns, especially you and your. Just sounds a little bit too informal for our writing. So like when thinking and processing information, the left side is basing thoughts. Like that's really going to elevate your writing. All right, our directed questions looked good as well, and I wanted to talk about your story one and the TED Talk that you watched. I thought I have not watched this TED Talk, but I thought it sounded really interesting to hear the story of like Netflix and kind of how it really has just totally exploded. So that would be very interesting. And so I'm glad you got the opportunity to watch and to kind of connect it to this. Anyway, just wanted to give you a little feedback.